too often, we overlook the subtle signs that something deeper is troubling our children. When unseen forces disrupt their peace, it's not just bad behavior. It could be a spiritual emergency. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden battles your child might be facing and how you can rise as a guardian in their time of need. Have you ever looked at your child and suddenly felt like you were looking at a stranger? One day they are full of laughter, curiosity, and light, and the next they seem distant, withdrawn, or even angry in ways you can't explain. These sudden personality shifts, without any clear cause, could be a sign that something much deeper is at play. When a child's spirit is under attack, it doesn't just affect their behavior, it changes the very essence of who they are. You might notice your once joyful child becoming unusually secretive, or their warmth replaced with coldness. They might resist family, reject activities they used to love, or display emotions that seem out of character. This is not just a phase or a simple rebellion. It is a warning, a signal that your child is struggling with unseen forces trying to steal their peace and identity. You might wonder, how do these changes happen so fast? How can a child go from bright and hopeful to dark and troubled without a clear explanation? The truth is, when spiritual interference takes hold, it disrupts the natural flow of life and joy. And here's what many parents miss. The first sign is often the hardest to recognize because it looks so much like normal childhood ups and downs. But when those changes deepen, persist, and intensify, it's time to act. Don't ignore the signs. Don't brush them off. The longer you wait, the stronger the attack becomes. But personality shifts are only the beginning. What about those restless nights? The screaming out in terror when the house is silent? How does that connect to what's happening inside your child? That leads us to the next warning sign you cannot afford to miss. Have you noticed your child waking up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, eyes wide with terror, calling out for help, yet no one is there? Night terrors and sleeplessness aren't just bad dreams or common childhood fears. When these episodes become frequent and intense, they may signal something far more serious. The night, which should be a time of rest and restoration, turns into a battlefield where your child's spirit is under siege. These restless nights drain your child's energy, their mind trapped in a cycle of fear and confusion. When sleep is disturbed like this, it's not just about tiredness the next day, it's about a deep spiritual unrest that breaks down the natural defenses of your child's mind and heart. You may see your child struggling to focus, acting irritable or withdrawn, but the root cause lies far beneath what meets the eye. Why do these night terrors come out of nowhere? Why does your child seem to wake from a nightmare only to feel more frightened and lost than before? This is a sign that something unseen is disturbing their peace, breaking the sanctuary of their rest. The enemy attacks where you least expect it, when your child is most vulnerable in the quiet of the night. And while these night terrors are alarming, they are not the only sign that your child is under attack. What about when they start pulling away from those around them, shutting down communication? What does that withdrawal mean? That brings us to the next crucial sign, one that every parent must recognize. Have you ever noticed your child suddenly pulling away, refusing to talk, hiding in their room for hours on end? Isolation and withdrawal aren't just teenage mood swings or phases to outgrow. When your child starts shutting down, avoiding family, and distancing themselves from friends, it's a clear red flag. Something is working hard to separate them from the love and support they need most. This kind of withdrawal is a strategy, a trap designed to make your child vulnerable and alone. When they isolate, they lose connection, not just with people, but with the very source of strength they need to resist the attack. It's easier for the enemy to take hold when your child feels disconnected and abandoned, even if that abandonment is only in their mind. You might wonder, why does my child push me away when they need me the most? The painful truth is, the forces at work want to break down the bond between you and your child, to weaken the protective shield that love creates. You may see your child stop sharing their thoughts and feelings, or even refuse to engage in activities they once enjoyed. This isn't just a matter of being shy or quiet. It's a sign that something is stealing their joy and trapping them in a prison of silence. Your role now is to recognize the withdrawal for what it really is, and to step in before it becomes permanent. But isolation isn't the only way this attack shows itself. Sometimes it's not just the heart and mind that suffer. Sometimes the body reflects the battle as well. What happens when unexplained illnesses begin to plague your child? That's the next sign you must watch for closely. Have you ever watched your child battle illness after illness with no clear explanation from doctors? No obvious cause, yet the sickness lingers? Unexplained illnesses are not always physical. They often reveal a deeper, unseen battle raging within. When the body starts to mirror the chaos inside, it's a clear sign that something is disrupting your child's natural balance. These illnesses can appear suddenly or persist longer than expected, leaving you frustrated and searching for answers. Why do these health issues keep coming back? Why does your child seem to suffer more than other kids, even when there's no clear reason? It's because when spiritual forces attack, they don't only assault the mind or emotions. They invade the body, weakening the immune system and making your child vulnerable to repeated sickness. The body becomes a battlefield, reflecting the spiritual turmoil that lies beneath the surface. You may notice your child complaining of headaches, stomach aches, or sudden pains that doctors can't fully explain. This is more than coincidence. It's a cry from their spirit, signaling distress. And as these symptoms persist, your child's energy and enthusiasm for life begin to fade, leaving them exhausted and defeated. Ignoring these signs is dangerous because it allows the attack to grow stronger, breaking down your child's defenses bit. The question is, how do you protect a child whose very body is under siege? The answer lies not just in medicine, but in understanding what is driving these symptoms. But physical illness isn't the only way the attack shows itself. Sometimes it erupts through behavior in ways that leave us confused and hurt. What about when your child's aggression and rebellion spiral out of control? That's the next sign we need to uncover. Have you noticed your child's anger flaring up for no clear reason? Or maybe their behavior has turned rebellious, pushing boundaries harder than ever before? Aggression and rebellion aren't just typical phases to be tolerated or dismissed. They are often desperate cries for help, signals that your child is fighting an internal battle that goes far beyond simple defiance. When a child lashes out, it's not just about breaking rules. It's about breaking free from something that's holding them captive. Why does this anger surface so suddenly? Why does a child who once seemed gentle become hostile, unpredictable, even uncontrollable? The truth is, when spiritual attacks take root, they distort emotions and cloud judgment. Anger becomes a shield, sometimes even a weapon, to mask pain, fear, and confusion that your child can't put into words. Rebellion isn't just pushing back against authority. It's pushing back against the very forces trying to oppress their spirit. You may find yourself asking, how do I respond? Do I punish harder? Do I try to reason more? The danger lies in reacting without understanding. When you respond only to the behavior without addressing what's beneath it, you risk feeding the cycle of frustration and despair. This aggression and rebellion are cries from the soul, demanding attention and urgent intervention. They are called to step deeper, to stand stronger, as a protector and guide. But even as this storm rages, it's not the only sign you should watch for. What if the fear your child experiences isn't just anger, but something darker? Something that grips their heart and mind in ways that make everyday life a struggle. That leads us to the next warning sign you cannot ignore. Have you noticed your child's fears growing beyond what seems natural? Maybe they're afraid of the dark, afraid to be alone, or even afraid of people they once trusted. These fears aren't just childhood jitters or imagination running wild. They're unnatural, intense, and sometimes even irrational. When fear takes hold like this, it becomes a prison, locking your child inside a world where anxiety and terror rule every moment. Why do these fears appear suddenly? Why do they seem to control your child's actions, keeping them from living freely and confidently? The answer is that fear is a powerful weapon used to break down the spirit. It targets the most vulnerable parts of your child's heart, convincing them that danger lurks everywhere, even when there is none. This constant state of fear drains their energy, steals their joy, and shuts down their ability to face challenges. You might see your child refusing to go to certain places, avoiding friends, or clinging tightly to you as if safety depends entirely on your presence. These behaviors are not just clinginess. They're survival tactics, responses to a force that wants to isolate and control them through fear. The challenge for you, as a parent or guardian, is to recognize when these fears are no longer normal and to act quickly. Left unchecked, fear can grow into something that completely dominates your child's life. But fear is not the only threat to their well-being. What happens when their mind starts to fog? Their thoughts become confused and they struggle to concentrate. That mental fog is our next warning sign, and it demands your full attention. Have you ever noticed your child struggling to focus? Maybe their grades are slipping or they seem lost in thought, unable to keep up with conversations or schoolwork. This mental fog, this clouded thinking, is more than just distraction or tiredness. It's a sign that something is weighing heavily on their mind and spirit. When a child's mind becomes foggy and confused, it's often because unseen forces are working to disrupt their clarity and peace. Why does this mental fog come on so suddenly? Why does your child seem disconnected from reality, unable to concentrate like they used to? The answer lies in the way spiritual attacks can drain mental energy, creating confusion, forgetfulness, and even feelings of hopelessness. It's as if a heavy weight has been placed on their mind, making every task feel harder, every thought more difficult to grasp. This mental fog doesn't just affect school performance, it impacts your child's entire world. They become frustrated with themselves, lose confidence, and may even withdraw further from those who want to help. It's a silent struggle, hidden beneath the surface, but very real and very dangerous. As a parent, recognizing this sign means stepping in with understanding and patience, seeking ways to clear the fog and restore your child's mental clarity. But remember, this is not the end of the battle. There is one final sign you must be alert to, the role you must take as a watchman, standing between your child and the forces that threaten them. What does it mean to stand in the gap? That's the next and most important lesson you cannot miss. Have you ever asked yourself, what can I do to protect my child from these unseen attacks? How do I stand strong when the battle feels so overwhelming? The answer lies in your role as a watchman, a guardian who refuses to stand by while their child suffers. Being a watchman means more than just noticing the signs. It means taking action, stepping into the gap and becoming the shield your child desperately needs. You must be vigilant, watching closely for changes, listening carefully to what your child isn't saying, and trusting your instincts when something feels off. But watching isn't enough. You must also be proactive. Speak life into your child's situation. Create a safe space where they feel loved and understood, and stand firm against anything that threatens their well-being. Your presence, your strength, and your unwavering commitment can be the greatest protection your child has. This role demands courage, patience, and relentless determination. It means seeking help when necessary, surrounding your child with positive influences, and refusing to give ground to any force that tries to break their spirit. Remember, the battle might be unseen, but it is very real, and it requires a warrior who won't back down. The power to protect your child is in your hands. You are not powerless. You are the gatekeeper of their peace, the defender of their future. Stand tall, stand strong, and act fast. Because when you do, you not only change your child's life, you change the course of their destiny. Now is the time to rise. Will you be the watchman your child needs? The choice is yours.